What's up guys, Nightingale here, and welcome back to a update notice video. Today is March 23rd, 2022, and we're going to be covering today's update notice. So we're now week 2 of the Guilty Gear collab, and yeah, we're going to be covering some of the new stuff coming, as well as want to give you guys the heads up on what to expect here from this video. We're going to cover the patch notes, and then use the timestamps down in the description section to navigate the video to see what we talk about with each section, as well as there will be a rant section because I kind of am about to let off on some stuff here. And then after that, we're going to have a Q&A section with Twitch chat right here, so they know to save their questions and we're going to get them asked. So for those of you who are on YouTube here, feel free to come hang out with me. Oh yeah, I forgot to turn that off. So let's go ahead and mute the sound notifications. But Goose Dart, thank you for following, thank you for joining our quest. Welcome to the stream. You'll be the only one today to actually get that on a video. As far as the Q&A section will go, please feel free to come hang out with me live on Twitch. We try to do this normally around the first hour, 2 hour of stream, so between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. I try to do this. All right, so enough rambling. Let's go ahead and jump on into the update notice. So the main content for the week is Jacko Valentine is a brand new 5-star limited hero. We're not going to go and watch the video. If you would like to watch Jacko's preview video, you can see parts of that on the Who to Summon For video if you want to go into that, but there's no point in watching that here. So let's go ahead and talk about Jacko Valentine real quick. She is a Fire Taurus warrior. For those of you who don't know and don't use Fribbles, she's basically a fire version of Sigrid if you want to start looking at gear for tonight. Let's talk about Jacko's skills. So let's see what they have to say about her in the summary. So, Jacko is a fire element warrior capable of boosting the attack of the ally in the back row with Chains of Cryon, dealing great amount of damage with Forever Ellison Driver. Her passive skill, Trick or Treat, gains Chain of Cryon, I have no idea how to say this, to the ally in the back row at the start of the battle, and which has a chance to stun the enemy. It's Abyssal Crown, by the way. In addition, after an ally attacks, when the target is stunned, increases the combat readiness of all allies, helping other heroes get their turns faster. Forever Ellison Driver increases the attack of the caster and penetrates the target's defense. When the enemy is defeated by this skill, it grants an extra turn to the caster. Throw Servant stuns the enemy. After attacking on the caster's turn, when the target has a debuff, activates Dust Attack, which is an extra attack dealing more damage and granting stealth to the caster. So, yay, we have a stealthing warrior. Just what we need to have in the game. Okay, so let's go over the skills directly now. Throw Servant is her S1 skill, which attacks the enemy with a servant, which this is one of her major mechanics in Guilty Gear anyway, is dealing around these servants, with a 30% chance to stun for 1 turn after attacking on the caster's turn. When the target has a debuff, activates Dust Attack, which as a extra attack. Dust Attack attacks the enemy by throwing them up into the air, granting the caster stealth for 1 turn. This is the Soul Burn as well, which has a 100% chance to 100% effect chance to stun. Not 100%. This does not ignore ER, so it still can be resisted. All right, Jacko's passive is at the start of which is Trick or Treat. At the start of the battle, grants Chain of Cryon to the ally in the back row for 2 turns. After an ally attacks, when the target is stunned, increases combat readiness of all allies by 15%. This effect is activated after all of the attacker's effects have occurred, so meaning this is at the very end of it, and can only be activated once every 3 turns. Alrighty. Now, we're not going to read the Before the Awakening skill because it doesn't matter here, because everybody should have at least 3-star Awakening on all of their units. So let's ignore the Before Awakening, because why would we need that? All right, Forever Ellison Driver increases attack of the caster for 2 turns before attacking the enemy by swallowing them with a jack-o'-lantern. When the enemy is defeated, grants an extra turn, penetrates the target defense by 50%. When the target has a debuff, damage dealt increases. And it basically sounds like built-in rage buff. The stun of Chain of Cryon is a debuff by a buff, which will take effect after the artifact effects. That's an interesting way of putting it. Combat readiness increase effect of her skill 2 Trick or Treat will take effect after all the effects of attackers along with the stun effect of Chain of Cryon. Okay. Jacko and Jacko's Symbol of Unity rate up will be from 324 to 47, the end of the collab, as well as Elphelt and Miss Confille drop rate up. Now, here's what I will say. She will also be from 324 to 47. Now, here's the thing. For those of you who do not have Elphelt or are low on resources, this is the one point where I will say you're going to have to make a decision. We do have that triple banner coming here in about 30 days, so depending on where your resources are at, you may or may not want to go fishing for this. If you desperately really want Elphelt, this is now your chance to go get her. While she is a good unit, her artifact is probably what most people want here. Now, it will be available inside the powder shop for 240 powder, so if you would like to save resources and you have 240 powder, I recommend not going fishing for her or for the artifact and going just for the artifact from the powder shop. Because again, there's a lot of stuff coming, and the issue for me here, and I'll kind of lightly cover this in a little bit, but this is kind of dirty because new players are going to have a harder time collecting these units because they've got them all separate, and it's kind of painful. Okay, other improvements and adjustments. Oh god, I can already feel my blood pressure rising. World Arena. One of the new 2 Battle Frenzy effects will be changed as follow. Currently, when eliminating an enemy, combat readiness of all allies increases by 15%. This effect can be activated once when eliminating multiple enemies by attacking once. It's now expected to be final speed of Soul Weavers increased by 20. Not 20%, that's 20 speed outright, is the way I'm reading this. The new effects added may change before the next World Arena season, which is actually the 31st of March. Okay, so that's going to conclude the patch notes sections. Now let's start with the rant. So the rant that I'm going to be going on is about this. Now, we partially talked about this a little bit with Zake's podcast here, actually this week. And this information and this opinion is coming from a person who helps coach and promote newer players and get them set up. I am not classifying myself as a in-game player, nor am I classifying myself as a master RTA person. I am giving you just my personal advice and experiences from other games and how things work outside of Epic 7. Okay, so the frenzy changes in general. What I want to talk about first is this. If we talk about the frenzy changes in general, it's very, very, very distasteful for how they've done and what they've done here. It's literally in one ear, out the other, and it literally is a bad taste in a lot of players' mouths because they just released, which we're about to read in a second, a Epic 7 balance adjustment discussion dev note. And the changes that the one change I thought they would have changed, they're leaving in. So let's go over, and I'm going to bring this up first. Also, by the way, I just saw it. I forgot to talk about it. Free Unequip is coming this weekend on 3/24, so basically after, I think, 11 p.m. Eastern time till Sunday, which should be all day, but they do some dumb crap and let it be shut off by, 11 a.m. on Sunday. It's dumb. Just make it all day. Anyway, that's coming, so yay, no hunt buff this weekend. Okay. So here is the developer notice that I am reading from, and specifically where I have a lot of gripe with this, and this is the point where I really want to drive home and get Smilegate's attention on this, because this is so out of touch with what you just said. Why the heck are these changes even here? So, they deeply apologize for how things are going. And then they give us this whole load of crap, which they then just immediately throw in our face. And this is why this is important with this change that's coming up. So, we've been receiving common opinions from many players about the current meta. And our thoughts about it are not much different. So they're agreeing that they think about the same wavelength as this. This is basically full of crap. The most important goal in balance adjustment for us is to improve the utilization of heroes and artifacts based on data. We didn't want to put any of our players in a situation where they must use heroes with the highest stats after putting so much effort and time in raising and improving heroes and artifacts they liked. In particular, the voice of players who wish to use certain Moonlight 5-star Moonlight heroes, which are more difficult to obtain, was something we could not neglect. And we will not deny that we put a higher priority on improving the utilization of the 5-star Moonlight heroes in World Arena than other Covenant heroes. Take note of this. Right here. Okay? However, due to the high difficulty of acquiring 5-star Moonlight heroes and the long Mystic Summoning rotation cycle, balance adjustments made in the past only created an imbalance of benefits between the small number of players who had such heroes and those who did not. In addition, giving new heroes competitive stats and abilities equivalent to their dominating heroes was a major reason it worsened the current issue. Now, we keep going even further because this is just digging themselves deeper and deeper in a hole, and you will see where I'm about to circle back with this. Okay. We have been putting in efforts to have more hero diversity when it comes to their roles in Arena, Guild War, and World Arena. Our balanced team's main priority has been aiming to curb the power creep since the game's launch to maintain the value of heroes and equipment of players as much as possible to provide an environment where players can enjoy Epic 7 for a long period of time. However, this resulted in an issue where there was not much change in the meta for PvP and battles were becoming repetitively stale. They're already admitting it was becoming stale, but it's also their own doing. To counteract this, we've been trying to alter the meta by applying changes through periodic balance adjustments. The meta last summer, where Covenant heroes had advantage over each other, can be an example. However, our decision of trying to improve Moonlight heroes that were less meta competitive without sufficient consideration improvements in the acquisition of Moonlight heroes is what we regret most. Okay, good, they admit that they've jacked up here and they made ML5s really good and they made them hard to get. And they feel bad for doing that, so they say. Okay, but it still gets worse. So let's see here. Not only have we interfered with the existing balance of the heroes that we had carefully improved and managed, but mainly because we have greatly tarnished the trust of our players who are always patient and supportive. Our intentions moving forward are partially reflected in this February balance adjustment. In the future, we will not improve. This is a key part right here. We will not improve 5-star Moonlight heroes that are not used as much unless we confirm that in this way they will improve the current game state. We will do our best to prevent certain heroes from becoming excessively powerful, even if it is not necessary to create new changes in the even if it's necessary to create new changes in the meta. Also, to indirectly curb the power of some Moonlight heroes, we will try to improve the Covenant heroes and specialty changes further. Right here is where I'm about to circle this around. If the changes do not produce enough results to satisfy our players, they're going to continue readjusting, and they're going to keep working on it. That's what we need to know. Okay, so last week's patch, they introduced the elemental disadvantage crap, where basically it's a 30% damage reduction to disadvantaged units, making Moonlight heroes now even more broken. What on the earth are they thinking? You literally just said you want them to be more used and better. But you just now said, nah, if you've got disadvantage, we're making it even harder for you to do. That needed to be what needed to go for newer players. Now, when it comes to long-term whales and things like that who have all the units, yeah, it doesn't matter to them. They can draft whatever they want. But by putting that elemental disadvantage in there, now it makes it even worse if you get counterpicked. It's less of a chance that you'll succeed. So what happened to diversity? Now you take this crap, which is obviously that needed to go. The combat readiness thing was an absolute joke, and that needed to be gotten rid of here. But why are we now saying speed of Soul Weavers needs to be increased by 20? Flat 20 speed. What? Do they not play their own game? Hello, there's a Soul Weaver right now that already dominates the meta that's typically fast as it is already, and now you're wanting to make her 20 speed faster? What the heck? Okay, let's be real. Amelia does not need to be 20 speed faster. Holy crap. Do we need Maid Chloe 20 speed faster? No, they did not think about this. Okay. The next thing is, and this is probably the most unpopular opinion here, but this is my opinion. Why do we even need Battle Frenzy? Okay? So here's the thing. I see what they're trying to do. They're trying to use Frenzy as a system to curve metas. But isn't the solution itself actually just getting rid of Frenzy and making it your counter to cleave is tank and your counter to tank is better cleave? Or better single target? Like, at that point, what they're trying to do is they're trying to speed up the game, okay? But indirectly, they're hurting another play style. It's only benefiting one or the other. The only way to really solve it is to get rid of Frenzy, in my opinion, outright. Now, what will this do is, yes, this will drag on fights a lot longer, because now that means tanks are a lot harder to kill, and that means your squishy DPS units aren't going to get ramped enough to kill these tank units if you can hang in there that long. Yes, it's a buff to tanks, but let's be real. In most games we play, what do? If we don't want to die to a glass cannon, we build bulk. We go in any MMO, we bulk up. We reduce our overall damage stats to live longer. And if we want to blow up said thing, we need now more damage. So we run the glass cannon so that we don't get insta one shot. Might be two shot, but you're still gonna get near one tapped. That to me seems like it's the better option overall, is just to let nature take its course. Yes, that's going to make some people mad. It's going to make the cleavers really mad. Why? Because they want really quick, fast matches so that their units can go in, do big damage, and walk away. But now it decentivizes the tank players to want to tank up, because what's the point? Battle Frenzy's just going to ruin their HP and their defense stats, and as it is already, they're starting to make in units that just straight ignore defense. What's even the point anymore? So, I don't know where the issue needs to be, but there needs to be something fixed. What is their purpose here is, I'm not 100% sure what they're trying to do here. Is this the answer? No. You've just buffed one singular unit to a disgusting level. This is going to be a bigger nightmare long term. Now, yes, there are going to be players out there who are super excited for this. Heck, I'm kind of excited for it to a small fraction point, and I don't even RTA just because I'm sitting there going, what would my Revenge Doris be like on this? Yeah, I'm sitting there thinking that degenerate crap. But no, somebody's going to sit there with a 250, 260 Amelia, and now she's a 280 Amelia? You just created a bigger issue, and this needs to be changed. Okay. As far as the second half of my rant, so we're going to call this Rant Part 2, actually directly comes to be related with Guilty Gear. I've been talking to a lot of people around a lot of different about a lot of different things about Guilty Gear, and a lot of them are kind of miffed at how lackluster Guilty Gear's collab is. It's really just farm the character, farm soul, farm a portrait, farm your junkyard dog, and it's over. There's no catalyst to farm. There's no story here. There's no nothing. This is 3 weeks of basically boredom that the only content here was actually Jacko. For anybody who's been playing, Jacko is it. That's pretty much it. For me, it was finish off my soul in Junkyard Dog and gain an extra portrait. For some people, it's their first time doing Guilty Gear, so there is technically more to do. But the fact is, in less than a week, I farmed out the entire story, or the entire shop, and that's it. We still have 2 weeks as of today of Guilty Gear, and there's nothing else. That's it. There's no catalyst, there's no nothing to help boost us along to build Jacko up. There's no side story to use Jacko in. That is it for content. I really think when it comes to Arc System Works, you guys should have had a little bit higher standard with Epic 7 and been a little more picky and been like, hey guys, maybe you really should expand upon this. Maybe it's what they're offering to Smilegate, and Smilegate took it and said, okay, it might be some contractual stuff there. But the sad thing is we had at least a 2-week story when it came to ReZero. We had a 3-week story when it came to Slime, and then we had 3 weeks of one stage fighting. So personally, I'm really disappointed for a lot of players that expected more for the collab. I'm sorry that we kind of hyped this up to a bit. I just wish that Smilegate could have done a little bit more and not made this the only content of it. Because I hate when units are content. I really got fed up with that in 7 Deadly Sins, because that was one of their major things that they promoted. Units were their content, not the content where they got to use their units. So the last thing I want to say here while we're talking about Jacko is, because I know a lot of people are going to ask here, is Jacko a must pull? No. Is she a must pull if you've been playing a while? Probably. Because she does have some cool tech, but for new players, she does nothing for you. If you want to play the collector card, yes, you can get her. But is she a mandatory unit? No. Is her artifact cool? Yes, it's neat for certain content, but it's not really that good overall. The big thing that I noticed when I was looking at it is it's basically an ancient inheritance thing, and that's a once a quarter event. So it's neat to have a few of those, but it's not anything that you need to be concerned about if you don't pull it. Don't go fishing for this artifact. It's not long-term worth. I'm sorry, is that Draco plate on her? Is that Draco plate on her image here? That looks like Draco plate. Or unless I'm blind, that looks like Draco plate. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna turn it off of followers only, and we're going to now allow people to ask in chat. I'm gonna set a timer now for 10 minutes. So we're gonna enter the question and answering section of this. They've already been informed that we're gonna try to keep our questions revolving around Guilty Gear, RTA changes, and things like that. If we still have questions going at the timer, I will extend it for 5 minutes up to a total max of a 20-minute total Q&A section, where if anybody wants to listen to any other questions, you're going to need to check out the VOD on YouTube or on Twitch, which right now we're running at about an hour into it. So check in at about an hour on the VOD if you would like to see any other questions that don't get answered if we do go past the 20 minutes. And as far as how this works, make sure you at my name so that I will see it in chat for questions. And let's get started on the Q&A section. All right, I already see one in chat. So what kind of team would Jacko play in? Jacko is going to play basically the role of, let me give you a free Abyssal Crown. And guys, remember to at Nightingale so that it is easier to read in chat with questions, and I will answer them in the order they are received. So Jacko is basically going to be a utility damage dealer. Yes, she'll be able to she'll be able to do damage, but I think the biggest part of her is going to be her S3 or her S2, or I should say her passive, which is the Chains of Cryon, basically giving her, giving somebody an Abyssal Crown right out the gate, which is absolutely nauseating. It is better than Abyssal Crown by like 1%, but still, you're gonna see some very interesting tech with her, but I don't think, in the grand scheme of things, she's not gonna be this godly nuke or anything like that. But we'll see. Let's see here. Your thoughts on DJB as best opener after patch. I do not think Desert Jewel Bazaar will be the best, but I think he will definitely, you will see some people, you will definitely see some people using a lot of new Soul Weavers as openers. You will see them built up. I think you'll see some weird stuff you shouldn't be seeing, and I don't think this is going to make it into the long term of things. Let's see here. Do you think Smilegate are applying a band-aid on the ML 4-5 tickets, not really addressing the problem? No, that's just basically a, personally, I think that's just a hey, we're changing stuff, so we're trying to make your investments that you've put into the game so far worth it, but the people who are going to benefit the most from it are the people who already have most everything because they've done the most pulls on it. But for newer players, honestly, the way they need to do it is just give everybody one, and then plus anything you've pulled, give them their due, whatever their pity system is. But is it a band-aid? It's going to help some, but it's not. It's mostly going to be 4 stars. You'll see some people getting some 5 stars, but it's not going to change much. Honestly, I don't even think this is a band-aid on a wound that needs stitches. The issue really comes down to its Mystic Metals need to be more prevalent some way, somehow we need to gain more Mystic Metals in the game. They need to take some of the rarity down. Or, honestly, they just need to cut the cost of them. It needs to be one or the other, but I don't see them changing the cost, so it's easier for them just to put more resource into the game. That's probably the easiest way of doing it. Smilegate compacted the side story into purely portrait farm due to feedback from the first collab. People said it was too energy draining, 3 weeks side story plus portrait farm to do. So I think it needs to be one or the other. In my honest opinion, it needs to be, you need to have the ability to get it from somewhere else, or put it into a currency, kind of like how we get. But I get that the farming of it, but it's always been, it was traditionally a drop, then we got the shop for it. Last year, it just dropped just outright, and that was very annoying. So I don't know what the solution is, but there needs to be something else there, because it's very bland overall. And pretty disappointing for a lot of players. They were hoping for their first collab. A lot of players that I've talked to are really disappointed with how the collab ended up being. But they're happy that they're able to get Portrait of Savior. They're happy that they're getting their soul. You know, they're getting a free 6-star soul. But the actual, like, there was nothing there for them for the next 2 weeks. It's not that energy draining. You just make it easier to farm overall. Do you think once the new season starts, will the different frenzy effects be a rotational thing, or will it be one frenzy the entire season? I think what they're going to do right now is they've said that they are going to adjust based upon how they see fit, and this may not even make it in, and they're willing to delay the start of the actual RTA season while they work on this directly. Right now, the issue is they need to find out why they're doing this, and the people behind it, they need to find what the actual problem is here. What are they trying to fix? They need to address that first, and the community needs to be pretty point blank with what their feedback is on this, and not listening to one group more than the other. Because honestly, this is a one-sided trick. You literally are buffing and personally giving one side a distinct advantage over the other, where it's no longer becomes about skill versus like skill and unit picks. It literally comes down to who has the fastest unit, and it's blatant obvious that they're showing that. Not that you always have to go first to win, but they are making it more and more the faster unit will dominate. So they're definitely catering to a play style. Do they know new players can't play RTA, and why? So the main issue with new players playing RTA is no player really under 6 months has any business being under it. And the main reason is not that they can't be competitive to a point, but they're only going to have really one play style, which is a few handful of units built. It may come down to unit composition. What do they have? It really comes down to unit pool. That's the big reason why a lot of players can't get into it. But they are doing some stuff with the Awaken update to help alleviate some of that pain of building units. The Grace of Unity system is really great, which is going to help bring more units into it. It's just, what's the limitations on this? The next big issue is gear gapping, because it's how things are set up right now are determined where we're going in. It's, you got to be able to get the actual geared people higher up quicker to where the lower geared people can actually fight something easier, I think. So you're fighting kind of a lot of different issues, but a lot of really hard to balance issues. It's really hard to, what's the difference between somebody who's doing their placements that has legend and gear? The only thing I could think of is to take your rank from last season and then match you with players of similar rank from the last season. And this way you're not getting a legend player fighting a bronze player. But that could also create some exploits and stuff like that from a player dropping out every other season, so I don't know. So let's see here. What team do you think Jacko fits in? Jacko is basically going to fit into some sort of like utility, anything you're trying to give an Abyssal Crown. Honestly, that's what Chains of Cryon's for. Depending on the debuff meta stuff, because right now you're going to have to take care of Koeric, and like in order to use Jacko, you have to get rid of most cleansers. And the two prominent ones are Dilibet and Mediator Koeric, so you have to do that. Let's see here. Frenzy. Frenzy was boosted intensely around RTA Season 2 onwards purely to prevent people who do hostage gaming on the final day of RTA, which was a commonplace thing in the first RTA season to prevent people from climbing into Legend last minute. Hostage gaming being drafting 5 healers tanks. Since you asked for Frenzy to be removed to solve all RTA balance, what would your suggestions be to minimize hostage gaming that will return if they remove it? Minimize the penalty, minimize to a point the penalty of leaving, and make it a bannable offense. If it's like, there are certain things where players can get banned in MMOs for gatekeeping, literally blocking players from intentionally blocking large amounts of players from entering new content by setting up literal, basically walls of players ready to go. You'd have to enforce some sort of thing around that. So hostage gaming, you would have to make it basically a bannable offense, which would prevent some of those assholes. But you got to remember, every game has assholes around, and it's just something you're going to have to deal with. But you have to look at everything as a major whole at this point, which is you would have to look at the RTA system, and I'm not qualified enough to go into the deep details of this, but you'd have to look at the RTA system. Where are your player bases playing? Where are your who's trying to abuse systems? You'd have to look at all right, I'm gonna go ahead and add on another 5 minutes. Timer just went off, so we'll start our first round of 5 minutes. You'd have to look at a bunch of different things around that, just around RTA in general. I don't think it's a tricky line, because I try to see the sides of both points, because I get where the hostage gaming thing kind of starts up at, but to directly do this in every match to prevent somebody from getting in, it's quite easy to tell who's doing it. So those people can quickly and easily be removed from the game. And it may not be permanent bans, just temporary bans. You ban them and derank them. That would be a quick way to prevent people from doing it. So let's say a legend player is gatekeeping and they're literally doing hostage gaming. Well, you derank them. You derank them down into master or something and say, you literally drafted every single match 4 Soul Weavers in a tank. You've been temporary banned. You know, if they're doing it during the last week, it's a week ban. And you just ban them for the rest of the RTA season until preseason starts up. Is it going to make people mad? Yeah, but I mean, you're also the idiot out there doing hostage gaming. That shows what IQ level you really have, which is none. Just play the game properly. Play the game and let both sides thrive, because the actual people who want to play a tankier comp are still bringing damage dealers. The people who are playing cleave are still going fast. They've got high-end effectiveness users that can... you've got players who can be able to defense break and get through the ER, and, you know, it makes this really cool dynamic to where it takes skill and understanding of your opponent's gear, and it also allows playstyles to rise up in both aspects. That's kind of where I'm looking at it from. It's a much bigger scale thing, but you honestly have to do something about it long term. Just like, I'll give you guys an example from Black Desert. Evasion and DP memes in that game, so full tank, you could barely kill him. It took 5-6 people to kill him. Was it annoying as everything, but could you do it? Yes, it just took a while. And if you've got the damage, and the good news is we're also making extinction units better. We're making, by adding in some of these abyss level passives and stuff, we're getting to the point where you can still kill tank units. Let's be real. Ha Young exists. You have, you now have, Watcher Shuri. We have, Defense, Pen showing up on more skills. So things are getting better to help kill these tanky units. We've got, let's see here, who else is out there? You've got, like, Rimuru. You've got, Ignore ER Soulburn type stuff. So there's stuff that they're baking into the game that are making this easier to deal with as far as the gatekeeping aspects. But it's something that has to be addressed outright. So I don't see any more pings, so I'm assuming we are done. I will give you guys the last minute and a half here to at me with any questions related to the patch notes or my rant on RTA Frenzy. Try to keep it, if you want to talk about the Awaken update, we'll do that after I end the video. So we've got 1 minute and 16 seconds left on the timer, so anybody at Nightingale in chat, and I will answer your questions, like I said, if you've got anything directly related to this. But overall, it's a pretty calm patch note today. We've got a very weird RTA change. We'll have to see this implemented. Ooh, I just saw in chat, Strays from the start. Yeah, Strays can take care of a unit. So we're almost... We got 30 seconds left. Looks like chat has nothing else going on. So we can... I'll be generous. We'll give you the... give you guys the last 30 seconds here, just in case somebody's trying to type something up. And then we'll hit the outro. So first off, I just want to say, while we're waiting for the timer to click down, thank you everybody for tuning in and coming in and hanging out and being a part of the patch note video. These are weekly. We'll be doing this every Wednesday, going over this, and your chance to get to hang out here on YouTube. And YouTube, you get a chance to come hang out live on Twitch around 7 to 8 a.m. We'll typically be doing this. So there we go. Q&A is officially closed, so let's wrap this video up, and then I will get back to hanging out with Twitch chat here. So thank you guys for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It really does mean a lot to see all you guys here and hanging out in chat and asking questions and going over the patch notes stuff. We'll be back next week to give you the next probably interesting saga of the Battle Frenzy changes to RTA. So let's see what happens and see if the community can listen. Or if they will listen to the community, and if this change is more toxic than the last. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.